Welcome to my first video on YouTube that will cover modding of Skyrim. The motivation for this video was the new tutorial by Predcaliber, which you can see here, and also links to all web pages needed to follow my instructions from this video. You can find in the video's description, among other this one. Well, I was modding Skyrim before very much with Nexus Mod Manager, but in many aspects it was not very intuitive and useful. Nexus Mod Manager tended to crash while installing some of the mods. It also overwrites textures as you add next mods, which makes going back to the previous state complicated when you need to install whole rows of mods again. And not so with the mod organizer. I was initially kind of scared of mod organizer, but what I really love about Predcaliber's tutorials, which can be found here on this website, part 1 and part 2, is Predcaliber made an approach learn as you go, I would say. So we just start modding, we start following his great tutorial, and after 30 minutes I was already feeling familiar with mod organizer. Following the entire tutorial left me with some 61 or so mods, and after that the game was working fine, but my old character, my old save games weren't. So I started adding the mods that I like on top of it. But what is so great about mod organizer, the key benefits you get from it? When you have two mods that use the same textures, you can test and experiment with them what texture priority you like best. So you can take like these two skin mods here, Mature Skin and Leyenda Skin, have both activated, and just drag it on top, and now the last textures that be loaded is Mature Skin, so they will be now prioritized to Leyenda Skin. I want to revert it back and deactivate, and you see I can drag the mods and drop them here, and this will have no effect on my data folder, because the data folder is totally untouched when using mod organizer. You create your own folder, as in Predcaliber's video, for mod organizer, and then mod organizer creates separate folders for each mod, which is fantastic. Nothing comes in way, and you can experiment as long as you like. So what did I add on top of Predcaliber's tutorial? I think a good example is optimized vanilla textures, which is a huge mod in size. As you can see, part 1 of 2, the base file is 3.6 gigabytes, and then you need to add the second part, which is different for Nexus Mod Manager users and for mod organizer. So I downloaded this to my Skyrim mods, textures and meshes. Here we have both files, and you can see 3.6 gigs and 1.3 gigs. And the website, the mods site on Nexus says, for the second part, extract the archive and install according to included README. So I did extract the archive to a separate folder, and then I have the README, and the README says install each of these files individually. So each of these files here. Place them directly after their vanilla counterparts in your load order according to the example picture. Let's see the example. So this is the example picture, and this is my mod organizer. What I did very first is install the big files, which is this one in my mod order. So I went like this, I went to my Skyrim mods and textures and meshes, sorted by date to have my mod on the top, because I have plenty of them here, as you can see. So I chose the big file, open, and then I installed it. Afterwards, following the instructions, I have extracted the second part into a separate folder to have the individual DLC optimized packs, and then according to the README I installed each of them individually. For instance, this one is Heartfires. So Heartfires, I went to this subfolder where I extracted the second part of the optimized vanilla textures mod, and I chose Heartfires and installed it. Afterwards, looking at the example JPG picture, I made my mod list like this when it comes to priority. You can see downguard, optimized downguard textures, Heartfires, optimized Heartfires textures, and Dragonborn is also here. Actually, I think it's not corresponding to this list, because we have first vanilla, then downguard, Heartfires, and Dragonborn. First vanilla, then downguard, then Heartfires is okay, and then Dragonborn. Now it's fine. Alright, vanilla. And I think natural lighting and atmospherics, which is a part of the ENB, will go after them. Alright. Now it looks better. Did it make any changes here to the archives? I want to see it being exactly the same. Now I made some tweaks here, and let's see now how my archive list compares to the picture provided by the optimized vanilla textures mod author. First I have my Skyrim data and the update. Then I have the high-res texture pack, which I deactivated. It's also an instruction on the optimized vanilla textures page. Then I have the Skyrim HD01 and HD02. Then I have downguard. Then I have a downguard unmanaged, that's the base games BSA, and de-optimize downguard textures, hardfires and optimize hardfires textures, dragonborn and optimize dragonborn textures, which is now perfectly the same as the example picture from optimized vanilla textures shows. So you can see with mod organizer you can mod as you go and make changes instantly, which will be also made instantly, but they don't impact your data folder anyhow. It's all done in the mods subfolders, and what else I have to say is that mod organizer is working very fast, very stable. It's really a breeze to use. The next thing that I added to Predcaliber's tutorial is those links here. Well, you go, for instance, edit, and you give a new title like loot. Then you find loot's binary and add it here. Why is that important? Because loot, forest new idols, generator, save tool and Elder Scrolls 5 edit, they will only work properly if started from mod organizer. If you don't start them from mod organizer, they will not see the mods, as they will look in the data folder. Some kind of magic happens that mod organizer is starting these tools correctly. They must refer to its own mod list txt files or other ini files, so they start correctly. And let me show you with loot. I take loot and I run it. I also have made shortcuts here, but let's do it this way for transparency. Loot, run, and we have all the ESPs and mods listed here correctly. The same goes for TES5 edit. An instruction on how to clean your master files before you even start modding can be found here. Elder Scrolls 5 edit, run. You see all the mods are here, all the plugins, and the save tool for cleaning saves. So all these tools, they need to be incorporated to mod organizer to work correctly, and they do work correctly. Predcaliber also instructed in his video to merge some mods, as we take for instance a median born Book of Silence. Predcaliber also mentioned to name it with all or merged or something like that, just for you to know that this includes merged mods. So it's a couple of mods merged into one. As I was modding on, I not always followed this tip. I forgot, and there might be some mods on my list that have some merged patches into them, but it's not described here. I also dumped the amazing follower tweak, which is an old mod, in favor of the immersive amazing follower tweaks, as this is a new and up-to-date mod which works better for me. And as you can see here, I named it plus werewolf patch because I matched the werewolf patch that is available on this mod files into it. So from now on, and I also strongly advise you to do so. If you merge mods, you obviously give the two of the mods that you install and you merge them, you give them the same name so that they can get merged by mod organizer. More to that on the Predcaliber's instructions. I strongly advise always to name your merged mods like plus patch, so then you don't get confused after having hundreds of mods in your directories when you want to mod from scratch. So a part of the optimized textures, there will be a lot of mods that I added on top of Predcaliber's list. For that I was using DP Slotking's spreadsheet that is available online, and it's linked to his Tetrachromatic ENB, which I love. And also I was using many mods from the RealVision suggested mod list, which you can find here. Example, DP Slotking's mods. Let's find the farmhouse. Where are you? There it is. So this mod plus this here, and this here. Those four, they are straight from DP Slotking's spreadsheet, installed in the correct order. However, because having mod organizer, I could switch their priority to have some other textures visible in my game. That's just pure magic. Okay, that's an example of the mods that are suggested by DP Slotking. And the trees, I like the bigger trees. This is straight from the RealVision mod list, and it's installed in the same order as provided by the author of RealVision mod list. And as you can see here, trees HD, simply bigger trees, and 4K parallax tree bar, which looks beautiful. So this is from the RealVision suggested mod list. I also then added simply bigger trees LOD on top of it. Let's quickly find it up here, because this is something not present on the RealVision mod list. Simply bigger trees LOD. Tree lot for sky sites, simply bigger trees at Skyrim Nexus. Yeah, that's the one. And that's the mod I installed, SSBT trees lot. And that will be somewhere in my textures and meshes. There it is. So after doing all of that, I ended up with 113 mods and 88 active plugins. There are some more here, but some of them are deactivated. I don't need to delete them manually. I have everything covered in the mod organizer. After playing around with mods priority, plugins, etc., it is always advisable to run loot, sort your load order to make sure no changes need to be done. If changes need to be done, there will be, and loot will take care of that. I never had problems with the loot's proposition for the load order of plugins, so I think it's pretty accurate to what makes the game stable. All the ini files, mod list, plugin list, it's all available for you in the links in the video description. One more thing I wanted to cover for now, which has significant impact on the game's performance, is the enblocal.ini and enbseries.ini. They are not managed from mod organizer, unlike Skyrim.ini and Skyrimprefs.ini. These you have to manage yourself outside of mod organizer, and the things that you input here in these two inis, they have a key impact on the performance of your ENB. I'm running AMD R9 390 card with 8 GB of VRAM, so the number of textures is basically not a problem for me. Sometimes in Whiterun I go over 4300 megabytes of VRAM usage. The problem is that the performance of the graphics card sometimes takes a hit due to ENB, verdant grass plugin and stuff like that, and in the grassy areas around Whiterun I even sometimes drop to 36 or 38 FPS, which is not a result that I am totally satisfied with, and especially when recording videos this can be even slightly lower. So make sure to adjust your enblocal.ini to your graphics card, which is important. Performance and memory section here, and the ini, I've read some instructions how to get some more performance out of your ENB. If you search for quality, so in default they are all instances of quality are set to 0, which is highest possible quality. However, changing them to 1 or 2 respectively gives 5 to 10 FPS performance boost with slightly or not noticeable lowering of the quality. Reflection, super sampling, I need to find that. Enable super sampling for reflection. It was also set to true, however it makes the reflections 4K, which is insane, as I read in some Reddit article about that. So set it to false. This will also improve the performance in certain areas of the game world. The inis are all linked to the video from the video description, so take a look at them and adjust them to your own preference. Now let's see how the game looks actually with all my mods and these inis set up like this.
Let's go. I'm still here.
The farmer is at his farm. Where else would he be? Lawless is his name. Talk to him. Convince him to help poor Cicero.
You need something? Well, all right then.